Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Midwest Whitetail After Hours, presented to you by Hoyt Archery. My name is Jason Science. Tonight is Wednesday, December the 1st. I am joined by Max and Grant Owen, Mr. Mike Reed, and none other than Jared Mills. How's it going, guys?
Going well, Jason.
Well, how are you?
It's warm. It's nice and warm out. It was like
Yeah,
50 degrees. They put in a new septic system at my place today, so I guess it was nice that it was 50 degrees, 55.
Yeah,
What
I
was
had
it
a
down
buddy
there, like
text me and had a buddy
80?
text me at night wondering if I want to go golfing tomorrow. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm taking the trash down tonight in my sleeves, watering the ducks and the chickens. I'm just, man, is it September? It's just something else.
of course, a good old cold front coming opening day of shotgun when we're going to be out of the woods.
Oh yeah.
Who
Never
is
fails.
are any of you guys partaking in that season?
Owen, I think you are, right?
Yeah, I think I'll be out with somebody. I'm not hunting myself, but I think I'm taking somebody out. So
Same. I was talking to my wife. We may get her a landowner shotgun that allows her to hunt first and second season.
Heck yeah.
So with we have some stuff coming up that she may not be able to get out late muzzy. So she really wants to try to get out, and I think we might try to do that. At least we have 2 weekends to do it. So we're going to see. We still got some talking to do, but that'll be nice. I mean, I think we got plenty of targets, and hopefully we can get something down.
I'm not hunting myself, but I got a pretty cool opportunity. I'm going to film a disabled veteran hunt. I think that's second season. So pretty excited about that. It's a 4 or 5 day hunt. So
man,
cool
that's
opportunity
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that'll be cool.
to give back. And from what I've been told, we're hunting some prime ground. So I'm actually pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it'll be
I'm
fun.
excited to see how that goes. That's one we've been talking about for quite a while now.
That's pretty awesome. Is that
Yeah.
something that is being done through 41 North or Midwest Whitetail?
A little bit of both,
A
and
little bit of both.
I think they had originally reached out to us we're going to put a video together for them, and Max is going to go film it and probably put it on the Midwest Whitetail platform for people to follow along with.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that'll be
Make-
my shotgun excitement.
Make sure you get the date right so you're there.
If you can't get excited about that one, you can't get excited about anything.
That's right.
That's right.
So who's been
I'll
out
be out of
hunting?
the woods as well. Max and I have been out. I don't know.
I've been
It's,
out as well, but
It's been a while, so I'll try to kind of think back to what we haven't talked about. Well, tonight I went out. We hunted from the ground. Ethan and I did just kind of a last ditch effort. I said I won't be out shotgun season, but we have a bunch of guys this year come and hunt the farms that I help out with. So, and they all arrive tomorrow. So it was kind of a last ditch effort tonight to go after one of these target bucks, and had a really cool hunt. We both donned the ghillie suits. Didn't see the target buck, but we had a ton of deer right on top of us. We had the hot doe run within feet of me with 3 bucks on her tail. I mean,
wow.
I thought I was about to get barreled over. It was pretty intense. And this buck, I've never heard so much vocalization. I mean, he grunted every 2 seconds for like a minute straight. I mean, just bruh, 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 bruh. I mean, just nonstop after this doe. They went barreling
Man, it's
past
fun.
us. It was pretty cool. I mean, anytime you can just be on the ground that close to the deer,
Right.
it's even though they're young bucks, it's still a pretty cool experience. So that was a fun hunt. Yesterday, went pretty deep in the bedding area yesterday on a different property and had a cool hunt. Had a big old brood of a 10. He had broke off both fours. A deer I wasn't going to shoot, but I snort wheezed him in anyway, and he came into like 10 yards all bristled up, fired up, just beautiful sunlight. Cool footage. So that was a cool encounter. And then the evening, we had kind of a crazy encounter. We probably a week and a half ago, Ethan and I had walked up on this 1.5-year-old buck. He had a broken beam and his head was kind of swollen. And he was right by the pond. And we walked up, we didn't see him till we were 5 yards away from him. And he was just kind of real dazed and confused. And there was something wrong with him. We would like walk in the grass and make noise. And he would be looking like 3 yards behind us. Like he just had no idea what was going on. And so I got a hold of the DNR wondering if I should put him down or whatever. And they said, yeah, we would like to test him for CWD just to make sure. And so I hunted for a couple hours and then went back out a little before dark and the buck was gone. So this was like a week and a half ago. And I went back in last night and I recognized the buck right away. He's walking down this lane and he didn't look great, but he was feeding with the deer out in the field. So he was at least alive. I was surprised by that. But he clearly wasn't 100% because a big old brute of an 8-point came out, big mature buck that I've seen, I don't know, a dozen times already this year. He comes out, he's feeding, and this little buck, like I said, he just is just in a daze all the time. He doesn't really know what's going on. And he's just sitting there kind of feeding, kind of minding his own business. You know, sometimes deer don't really just like, for whatever reason, they just don't tolerate each other in a certain spot. If they want to feed there, they'll kind of, posture up or whatever. A little buck just feeding, and the big buck just kind of like rams him right in the head, like rack to rack, and the little buck's just kind of thrown off. A few minutes later, he's doing the same thing. Little buck's just kind of minding his own business, and the big buck comes and hits him broadside, and you can see hide flying, like hair coming out of the hide where the big buck G2 hit him in the side, and the little buck stumbling, wobbling, about to fall over. I mean, it was crazy. He just got sucker punched by this big mature buck, but he was just he's just out of it. There's something wrong with him. I don't know if it's a head injury, he has that little broken beam. So I don't know if there's something to do with that, but it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that before. Part of it was funny because it was like, what is going on? But then part of it, you feel terrible for that little buck that he's just getting whooped on. He doesn't even know what's happening out there. So that was interesting. I was surprised that he was even alive still, but that's on the blog today. You guys can check that out. It was pretty cool footage.
Sounds like it.
And then I don't even remember. I think it was November 28th. Owen, you predicted that I'd kill in late November, and you're almost right, except you forgot to take into account how much bad luck I had this year. So otherwise it would have happened.
So close.
The morning of November 28th, I rattled my target buck in like probably 8:30 in the morning. And a lot of you guys know, a lot of the properties I hunt are super, super thick. Once you get into the woods, there's a lot of pine trees and just a lot of cover. And he came in on a line of pines and cover, and he basically just stayed behind it as he came in. But he came into 8 yards from the tree, and I got full draw perfect. He was coming perfect with just a little bit quartering away, and there was a couple little branches. I need him to take half a step, and as he's taking that half a step, like I had my pin burned into him on his vitals, about to pull the trigger, and he bolted. I don't know if he just got a whiff of us or what, but as he was taking that half a step and I was about to pull the trigger, gone. He bounded off and he circled back in, and then he bounded off again. But I mean, it was that close to being done. It's a cool hunt. That's the second time I blind rattled that buck in, which is a first for me, being like blind rattling a target buck in twice like that. But yeah, just unfortunate. I don't know what it was, just terrible timing, but I was about to pull the trigger. It was that close.
Man.
So that's the excitement or lack thereof in my world.
That's rough.
Mine's been pretty rough as well. It has been a while since we got on here. The deer,
a week, right? Has it been a week? I think it's been a week.
Yeah, I think it's
or 8
like
days.
A month.
I know. I missed everybody.
So the deer that I moved to the top of my kind of hit list is just the deer, the a mature buck that I've talked about several times. It's been the most active through the latter half of November. I'm up to 13 encounters with this deer.
Wow.
The last of which was with Rye on may have been the 28th. I don't know. I just can't seem to get that deer killed. And he's kind of been, it's crazy to go 24 hours without a picture of him. So I've gone a couple of days now, but he was just in there. He was gone he took a hiatus and was probably off on some other farms chasing does. And I just kept hunting that farm when the conditions were right, knowing that he would be back in there. And sure enough, on the way to the farm on the 28th, I got the pictures from the night before driving, and he was all over there. And I knew I was going to see him, and we saw him. I had him at 45 yards. So that's the third time I've probably had him inside of 50. And just as like that, it's just that weird thing. I've called at him a couple of times, and the way that section of that farm works, I couldn't really call from that tree on that morning because he can just see right over to me. So it was when he came out of this cut bean field, he was feeding, just kind of minding his own business. When he hit this one line of woods, it was either he was going to go west, right down Death Valley right to me, or he's going to go east to who knows where. And sure enough, he went east. So I had to watch him from 40, probably got to 40 yards and then turned the wrong way. And I walked out of my dreams again. So I had that encounter. And then that evening, Ryan and I went back knowing that, he was in there, and had a really good, an awesome encounter with a 4-year-old, probably 100. He might be 140, might be a little less 10-pointer that he's been on Grant and I's kind of watch list. And he's super active and wanting to get a good look at him, just like a deer with a lot of potential. And it was crazy. I know most of you guys have probably seen that episode where I had that really good encounter a while back in November, where the deer I saw was kind of like coughing or something. He sounded terrible. I don't know. He was just coughing. It was weird
COVID.
Yeah, it was like I said in that
all
he
do.
had bronchitis.
Dang deer in Iowa.
Well, this deer that I saw, this 4-year-old, comes in on Ryan and I, but before I ever saw him, I heard that coughing sound, and I was like, man, I know I've heard that before, and I couldn't connect it in my head. And sure enough, I looked
Poor
up.
deer's still sick.
It's like this deer is just like, like convulsing and like coughing up stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he looked terrible. Like, I don't know if he's just run down because of the rut or whatnot. He looked bad, and he bedded down and laid his head down at 50 or 60 yards that night. And I kind of thought when he stood back up, as I figured he would before dark, I figured if he didn't look great, I would try to kill him. He's a nice deer. And sure enough, he comes into 20 yards, and he's starting to look a little bit better. But I kind of made up my mind I was going to shoot him. And he's at 20 yards, and I'm at full draw. And just like Jared's, he needed a half a step. And in stride, as I'm more or less putting pressure on the trigger, I guess he caught some ground scent. I'm not sure what it was. And he turned 180 degrees and walked off. And so that was
No way.
Oh my gosh.
How is that possible?
How is that possible?
It was the same. I think it was the same day. It was the same. It would have been the same day. So
It's crazy.
it has been a.
Matt, I'm ready for 2022. That's for sure.
No
I
kidding.
was just talking about that.
Grant and I talked yesterday morning that I'm done. I'm done. I'm ready to start velvet filming or just reset.
Yeah. I might call my
Velvet
buddy
film.
back and say I will take that offer on.
Yeah, you let me know what time's the tea time. I'll be there.
Go
So,
pheasant hunting the rest of the year.
man,
Oh my gosh.
Man.
it's been a grind. Grant and I hunted on the ground, which we can get more into with this warm weather, what the deer are doing. Grant and I sat alfalfa last night on the ground, had a pretty cool little hunt, saw some does, but seems to be the cameras have been pretty dang dead the last 3 or 4 days. And my hunting's kind of, I think I might pretty much just give it a break until the late season again. But it's been a grind. I can honestly say, and I can say this for Jared as well, I mean, I haven't given up on it. As much as it was tough, I have like stayed after him hard, and just just hadn't come together. So
Yeah, that close.
Yeah, it's been. I've had some good hunts. Like this is the epitome of chasing a single deer. You know, I've passed some good deer and just the struggle of trying to pick out one deer and to encounter him. But I've had some good hunts overall, and I've been seeing like good November activity. I mean, rattling bucks in, snore wheezing bucks in, hot does. Like it's still been really good activity, even these last couple of days. So it's been fun to be out there. It's just it gets old not seeing the deer you're after for sure.
They are coming that
The
close.
single deer, yeah.
Jared, have you been
Yeah.
hunting over greens?
What'd you say?
Have you been hunting over greens?
Greens, yeah, not grains. Yeah, greens. And
So-
it's more just a product of that's where this deer's living, and there's no grains there. There's grains nearby, but not ones that are on the property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jason, what have you been seeing?
It seems like we're all going to have a similar story here.
Did your dog melt and open up, and you've been shooting some greenheads?
No, it's a hockey rink. That's unfortunately the season's still open, but they're all gone. So Jared, was it Monday the 28th?
I think it was Sunday.
Sunday, maybe it was the 29th. That morning,
Yeah, Sunday the 28th.
I hunted Sunday night, and Monday morning I got up and, as I always do, I checked the camera to see what was going on, and here Gumby had gone just behind where I had walked. No, he had walked on the path that I had walked out on, no less than 10 minutes after I had walked out. And then he headed to the cornfield that I've been hunting. And then, so I got that picture, got a bunch of pictures of him in the corn. And then a little while later, I checked the camera again, and, I got another batch of pictures. And oddly enough, I had one of him in daylight at 7:30 Monday morning in a spot that I don't get him in, but it's the only spot that I've had an encounter with him where he winded me. So I thought to myself, I hadn't planned on going out, and I hadn't planned on going that deep where he was at. And I talked with Jared a little bit and had a great plan. I was thinking he was going back to bed where he used to bed. Or at least I believe that he used to bed there. And I also got him that night previous to that in a small food plot way in the back, up against the lake, kind of in daylight. 4:30. He was out there with like 6 or 7 other bucks. So I talked to Jared, and my plan was to go back and sit one of the blinds back there. It's muzzleloader season here, so I got on my e-bike, to get in there real quiet, and I was going really quiet, and I came around the corner, and I looked, and there he's laying 10 yards off the trail with a doe. And I'm looking at my muzzleloader on my handlebars, and I'm looking at the primer, and I'm like, this is not going to work out good. And he didn't pay any attention to me, but the doe that he was with sure didn't like me. And so she took off, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. I was that close to him, and they weren't that far from me. She ran a little ways and stopped on the hillside, and I just stopped and watched him and went, wow, he's big, and that's cool. And eventually they ran off. So I got to the stand, got the video camera set up, got the gun loaded and ready, and so this whole ridge we leave alone. Nobody ever goes up there, and he ultimately ended up chasing this doe all the way through there. And I mean, there was deer running every direction for the longest time. Probably for a half hour, there was deer just squirting out everywhere, and pretty soon, I think I probably had 10 or 12 deer in this green plot, and I could see back in the timber, there's a bunch of other deer kind of heading towards this green plot. So what they did is they had come from the right, and now they were way down to the left, and they were all just sort of moving back towards the top of that hill. But to get there, they had to feed through the plot, and it was still only like 2 o'clock. Well, there was Gumby in the back of the whole pack. I thought he was alone, which I thought was weird. I should have known better, and he wasn't. That doe was bedded. She just kind of laid down right there, and I watched them for a while. And I started to think, what's he going to do? That doe is either going to come out in the food plot, and then I thought to myself, no, that'd be way too easy. She's not going to want to be out in the wide open with, a whole bunch of other bucks around. So I started to look where my shot opportunity is going to be in ranging them, and either he went left or right, and of course he went right, and he had to come 5 yards this side of the big oak tree, and ultimately he didn't. He walked on the other side, and I could have tried a shot there, but I hate doing that. I hate to say that I wouldn't do anything but a gimme, but I wouldn't do anything but a gimme. I mean, when you're that close to him, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it under any circumstances to take a marginal shot, and that would have been marginal, especially with a muzzle loader. With a rifle, I could have guaranteed I could have punched through there, but not with a muzzle loader. There's too many things that can go wrong. So he lives on. So every morning he's on a very strict schedule. He eats corn all night. He comes past one of my stands at anywhere between 5:04 and 5:31 in the evening, and comes back anywhere between 6 a.m. and 6:14 a.m. past the same stand, and then he either beds left or right, and then repeats the next night. The problem is I can't get on the deer. I mean, he's nocturnal except for that one time, I guess. I don't know. I'm just gonna
Cold weather.
I'm gonna nuke the place and be done with it.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got a beat on him. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
cracking up.
I was looking at thermal imaging scopes today. They seem like a pretty viable option.
I was just gonna say, I was cracking up when you sent me a cell cam picture of that deer at 4:37 a.m. and you go, I've been sitting in this blind since 4. So he's right out in front of you in the pitch black dark. The only reason you know is a cell cam.
Yeah, that one morning
By the time it gets light, he's back in his bed.
I went to that cornfield that he's been feeding in, and I got there at, I think it was 4, and it seemed like it took me a half hour just to go 75 yards. But what I did is I've got this stand in an unpicked cornfield, and I just took the rototiller in the back of the tractor and rototilled a path in there, so it's pretty quiet. And I just tiptoed in there the whole way and got there nice and early and laid down in the stand. And yeah, I knew he was out there, right, easily within range, but
it was dark.
On the cover of darkness.
right.
Well,
at this point, I'm
sounds
fairly
like
certain he's smarter than I am.
Some cold weather and later in a couple of weeks from now, hopefully.
Yeah.
You guys have gun through the rest of the year, or how's that work up there?
We've got muzzleloader through a week from today, and we're going to get some cold weather here coming up. So
that might be the ticket.
Give it a shot. I think it's going to take some pretty serious temperature changes to get him on his feet early. And I know we're if I get that kind of weather, I'll hang up my gun and bring my bow, because I know that I know where he's going to travel. And it's not going to be a long range shot. I mean, it's going to be a chip shot. Well, then I'll probably miss, but
yeah,
just jinx myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and have you been watching your camera still?
Yeah, I have. I've been doing a little bit of scouting too. I've been out watching some fields and stuff. And the one thing,
you got them on greens pretty hard right now.
Yeah, greens is pretty good in corn. The one thing I've noticed on my cams is you might have 2 or 3 cams in an area, and a target buck is not on only one of those cams. If you didn't have that particular cam, he's on it every day like clockwork, and you wouldn't know he was there if it wasn't for that one cam. So might be the time to kind of move your cams around a little bit or whatever. kind of surprised how this time of year, how they can kind of go underground like that.
Are your cameras still on scrapes?
Yeah, I've still got them for the most part on scrapes, but I've got some on travel corridors that are always good. They
Yeah.
tend to funnel through a spot. I've got some there too, but a lot of them are on scrapes. Yeah.
I've seen a little bit, at least a few bucks that are coming back to some scrapes that really were dead.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
They're open back
Yeah.
up, walking through the woods, walking past a couple. I'm like, holy cow, like that's tore up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely
Yep,
seen
yep.
more scraping activity. My target buck, maybe I just don't have the cameras in the right place, but if I didn't have visual encounters, I wouldn't know he was there. He
Yeah.
just doesn't go by any of my cameras, apparently. I think it's very rare that I get a picture of him.
He's got
Really?
his
It's so-
somewhere.
Yeah.
It's so
I
interesting how
might
that
as well
can
not even
happen.
have him out there. I might as well just put him somewhere else.
Yeah. It's so
I-
interesting how that can happen.
I'll have
What'd
Yeah.
you say?
a buck or two every year. It seems like that once he sees that camera, you'll never get him on that camera again. He's just super shy.
Yeah. It seems like
It's-
some of them get like that.
Yeah, not very many, but I'll have like one or two bucks that are like that.
Huh.
The Big
And I
Ten
thi-
that I was hunting last year was like that. He would, every time I did get a picture of him, it was almost like he was like he forgot the camera was there, and he'd be backpedaling, as soon as he got his picture. But he was really good at avoiding the cameras too.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Owen, it seems like as they transition back to food, they sort of pick their bed and their food and their trail they walk, and they just walk. They walk. If they don't get buggered up, they'll walk the same trail every day.
Oh
And
man.
if you don't have a camera on it, then you think they're not even there. And it's hard to have a camera on every trail. You got to have 50 cameras on 10 acres.
Yeah.
If you guys saw this 10-acre cornfield that I've got, you guys.
Jason's got the 502 to 515. He's got
Did
multiple.
you have to squeeze past the cameras to get in the field?
They're not getting in or
got
out
two-
without a picture.
It's like an
It's got
electric
2
fence.
hours to do pictures every morning.
Downhill slalom. It's a slalom at Jason's farm.
I
had to
think
buy
it broke
stock
up
in
a little
Railback.
earlier, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I think someone asked me if I was hunting in urban. I made a few sits over Thanksgiving weekend in the urban zone, trying to get my does down to earn my buck tag for next year. So the way we work it in town is you shoot 3 does now and you earn your buck tag for the following year. And I don't really have any great bucks on camera or any pattern or any bucks. And so I went to sit, I want to say maybe the day after Thanksgiving, and I saw it's a cut bean field. I mean, it's a bean field that only got about 10 inches high. I think they planted it late and it was kind of wet. It just had a low yield. I wasn't even sure they'd go in and pick it. And then they did. I mean, I think there's a fair amount of waste grain, but it's a picked bean field. I mean, I've 25 deer every hunt, and I'm getting in there like at 3 after I do family stuff or do whatever. I'm just going to try to shoot a doe. So I was slipping there, and I mean, it's like constant activity the last 2 hours of the day. And I've had some really great hunts. I actually had trouble getting the doe down just because, the bucks were harassing the does and they'd be running by me and not in bow range. They're just out in this cut bean field. But I ended up getting my last doe down. I think she was about 200 pounds, probably the biggest doe ever shot. I regretted doing that.
yourself.
It was like a 12-year-old city doe. I was like she came out and I was like, ooh, that's a mature doe. And then another mature doe came out. And I was like, that's a mature doe. Then I was questioning, is that a fawn? And then the fawns came out. And then I was like, oh my God, that's Godzilla doe, and of course she comes by me and I shoot her and I was like by myself, and so I'm like, I had to work pretty hard for that one little doe, but her head was like big like a horse, it was pretty cool to get a doe down. I hunted one morning, I think it was Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I was going to make a quick hunt and just see if I could again shoot a doe, and it was just crazy activity all morning, bucks chasing does. I mean, I think I ended up staying in there like 11 o'clock just because the activity never stopped, and I had 2 does run through bow range but couldn't get them stopped, and I never saw a mature buck the best buck I saw, and I saw him twice, once in the distance and once I passed him at like 38 yards. It was a 4-year-old, probably 140s 10 with split twos. And I was kind of going back and forth. Is he 3 or 4? And, post rut, he has decent mass. I was kind of like, he might be a 4-year-old, but if he can make it through the rest of the year and he's in there next year, I didn't have a good reason to shoot him. So, but it was kind of interesting. I mean, they don't have a lot of food options there. There is a cut hayfield. They kind of were filtering through that some, but they were really heavy in that cut beans. And on the home farm, I've got clover, alfalfa, turnips, beans, and I've got quite a few deer just in the stand of beans. They're acting even on the couple warmer days we had. And pictures have definitely slowed down, but I've had Big Mac and Patient X and a lot of those 5+-year-old bucks, that Big 8 on the River Bottom farm, a lot of these bucks that were wanting to get the kids or the wife on, they've actually been up in daylight here. So it makes it a little more exciting going in for, this first shotgun if we do end up going. We'll see if it stays good. I mean, I know it's supposed to cool down. We have east winds on Saturday, which somebody keeps telling me it's a killing wind. It's not my favorite wind, but and then Sunday it's gonna switch back northwest.
We've had messed up winds for quite a while here in Wisconsin, and just weird stuff. I mean, it can be super cold and it'll be a south wind, which is atypical for what it normally
Odd.
is. Yeah, southeast, east, just weird stuff. But
Where
yeah,
where I've been hunting, I've almost stopped paying attention to the wind just because it's in there. It does a circle anyways. I just hope that it blows the right way at the right time. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Man.
With 2 days left, Jared, are you still gonna try it?
I don't know. I might, but like I said, I got a bunch of hunters coming in tomorrow already to start getting things ready, and I got some blinds to move around and stuff. So I might go out in the morning and see, just give it one last shot, but that'll likely be it. So I'll be, helping the hunters. Between now and the end of the season, there's like 13 or 14 guys coming to hunt the farm. So it's going to be
Wow.
interesting. The hit list might be non-existent by the time I get back in the woods, or maybe some new bucks will move in. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what has survived by the end of December.
Yeah, for sure.
Your gun season is pretty intrusive, right? I mean, from what I remember from Todd telling me, there's a lot of folks do a lot of driving and stuff like that.
Certain areas.
Yeah, there's a lot of driving around areas I hunt. These hunters that are coming in won't be driving. They'll just be sitting in blinds on food. But yeah, there's a lot of driving around, and sometimes it helps you, sometimes it hurts you.
Yeah.
Aaron, did you think about shooting that big mature 8, that you've been seeing since it's getting later, or did you just think I'm just going to hang in there?
No, I haven't thought about settling for anything yet. I wanted to just keep targeting the one buck, just give it a shot. I mean, it's very likely he gets killed this weekend or next week sometime. I've seen him a bunch and could have killed him every time with a gun. It's obviously just bow hunting's a little bit different, but yeah. So he likely won't be a late season target. So I just wanted to kind of stay after him while I could.
Might as well. Yeah, I know you don't normally settle till January 10th if you do. So
Yeah. Maybe January 11th.
Yeah. I didn't know if you with the landowner and then getting a late fuzzy with a bow, if you would.
Well, I mean, like I would have killed the 8 if I could have used a landowner tag on it, probably. But
sure. Yeah.
Being that's my one statewide archery tag to use on those properties, where I could only kill one buck. I didn't want to waste my tag on something I wasn't targeting.
Sure. Yeah. You haven't been hunting down at the River Bottom farm much?
I have not been down there at all.
So no clue to what's going on out there. There's some 200-incher walking around in front of your redneck line.
Yeah. I pulled cards the other day and all the same stuff pretty much as like that Stubbs buck is still pretty active in there. There was one new buck that I didn't recognize. Maybe he's one from over on your side that you might know. I'm not sure. Big 8 and then had one little inside point between his 2 and 3, I think. If I remember
I got
right.
pictures of him.
He looked fully mature.
Yeah, I think I just got pictures of him too. Don't recognize him from this year, so he must be just through or coming to this little shuffle that's happening.
Yeah. That's
Any more
the only new buck
pictures
that
of
I had thought.
That 6x6 or no?
I think there were a couple pictures of him, nighttime.
Yeah. He looks fully matured too. Decent looking pictures.
Yeah, I would agree.
I figured out who he was. It was that, I had that buck come last year and sniff the steps under when I was hunting the pitch, and he was a 6x5, taller brows, but he was tight. And I was trying to turn the pictures upside down and see if it's him, because that dude's got a pretty good frame on.
The 3-year-old that we were calling 3 last year.
I think we were calling him 4. I thought we were calling him 4, but I filmed him a few times. I mean, I filmed him up in that tree line out in the willows, and I filmed him. He came under the stand, had taller brows, but a tighter rack. But the configuration, it at least strikes a memory. I don't recognize that deer when I look at the couple pictures I've looked at. But it's funny how they just pop up, and he's obviously mature. He's a good looking deer.
Yeah.
No
he
merino.
could potentially be a late season target. There's one picture of him one night, one single picture of basically just as you're so close to the camera, just the side profile of his brows, just enough to know it was merino at like 11 o'clock at night or something. I don't know.
But that's at least a couple weeks after he was shot. So he did
alive.
Make it. Seemingly he is alive. Okay. So that's good.
Not on our farm, but alive.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where I'm gonna stop being emotionally invested in that dang deer.
It's a perfect way to build a great saga with a deer. Is get a picture of him occasionally on the boundary of your farm. He's never on your farm.
I started saying, don't fall in love with your deer because they'll break your heart every time.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, is Wolverine one of the shotgun targets down there?
I'm not sure. We gotta do some do some persuading. I don't know. I've had some move in too since I haven't seen them during the rut. They've kind of come back to food, so I've got some earlier targets are back, so we got some options.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I just had one show up tonight that I showed Jared before the rest of you got on. That just surfaced tonight for the first time in a long time. He's only a 4-year-old 10, but he'll be good for next year.
Yeah, we got at least one, if not multiple, that have showed up in the last week that I haven't seen since late October. So I think it's one of those things. There's a couple that I'm getting pictures of every night. It's like 8-9 o'clock at night that ideally they make it through, and then you just need a good cold snap and hopefully put some killable. I definitely have seen some deer going back to their old ways.
I've got same thing on the home farm. I've got Anna's buck, the one that she found the shed to with you guys. He was in daylight on the food plot that Bella killed this year tonight. And he's a 5-year-old, got 3 years plus a history of him, multiple years of sheds off of him. And he really wasn't on the farm that much this year, but we did film him twice late season last year as a 4-year-old. And so I was showing Anna at the orchestra concert, but between songs, but trying to get Anna's like, ooh, yeah, she's getting pumped up. So I had some other random deer show up, and it's interesting. I don't normally see that as much until we get a little later in. They really start hitting the food plots more, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on in the whole neighborhood, but there seems to be, I've obviously got good standing beans this year, better than some years, and I think you're starting to see more of that transition back. So
6x5 bat at all, or is he gone?
one picture of him. Let's see, I've had pictures of him 3 or 4 times in total this year, which is the least amount over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I got one picture of him. And what's interesting too is every single picture of him has been in daylight in the afternoon in the same area. So like when he decides to come over, it's like he was in November crossing over into the farm and being real active.
So he's
But,
got to be there. He just lives somewhere in proximity then.
In particular, it's the most evident because last year I had him pretty active most of the rut on the farm, and this year it's amazing I encountered him really. But yeah, I think he's living off the farm, spending most of the time off the farm. I mean, I had one picture of him a couple days after I shot Chubb, so that would have been mid-November, November 12th or 13th, and no pictures sent. So it's very likely or possible that a neighbor shot him. There's plenty of bow hunters around. I feel like I've got this 1 acre bean plot where you guys filmed them actually 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And I've got a camera right on the edge of it on a scrape, right where they like to walk in. And that's where I've got a picture quite a few times this year. And I just feel like as it dies down and he moves I'd start getting him on that camera. That'll be the spot on it. I'm not sure he's still alive. So we'll see. He might just pop up in the field one night in December.
One can hope.
Christmas press. That's right.
Anybody got anything else before we wrap it up? How long does
Good
Finish
luck.
strong.
All right.
I might have to spend the shotgun break shooting my bow and getting ready for Owen. I got called out in the other video, so I got
I did hear that.
I did hear that too, and I thought Owen must not watch my blog. I shot at a target at least one time on my blog.
I actually did see that. I thought about that. I was like, Mike's gonna let me have it on that one.
But I'm scared to shoot against Owen. I'll be honest. But
I don't want any of it. I'm telling you right now. I don't want Jared to stall my catastrophe in the doe woods the other day. I don't need any of it.
Guys, always get it done when it counts, though. If the deer's in front of you, he's going down.
Yeah, if I can dart a deer,
if I get a chance to pull the trigger.
That's what I'm saying. Can I get him in front of me? I'll take that gamble.
Yeah.
Oh man, God dang it! It's been rough. Here it is. Well, good luck to you guys in the next couple of days. Good luck, Owen, and
Good luck, Mike.
Max. Pass on the good word to the veteran, and hopefully they can lay down a good one.
Yeah, if we don't get
that'd be
back
awesome.
on here too, the episode of Dak should go up this coming Monday, just a little less than a week. If we're not back on here, that should be a really good one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that one come together. That deer's been, a fun one to chase the last few years on the River Farm. So
I'm gonna hit it pretty hard during this cold front. Maybe push it a little bit. Hopefully, I've got something exciting to show for it. But
I want one of these
at.
podcasts. I want one of these podcasts to be Gumby is down.
Gumby is going down.
Not my e-bike and the muzzleloader on the handlebars. I want him to be dead. So
You can't have the 3 horsemen here, Grumpy, Mopey, and plus you can't have the 74.
oh man,
yeah.
good times.
All right, guys. Good luck to those of you who are heading out this weekend. Jared, make sure you put those guys. Don't gar hole them, okay?
I've already put dryer sheets all around the farm. See if I.
Oh,
He's gonna be
perfect.
checking cameras on opening morning.
Oops, I didn't know you guys were here.
Yeah. Oh, are you sitting here? I got turned around. After I dropped you off.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. They're a bunch of out of state guys. Actually, Owen, a bunch of Michigan guys this weekend. Got 5 Michigan guys coming in tomorrow. So
Those darn
They'll be-
Michiganders.
So watch your 3-year-olds.
they'll be pumped. Whatever they shoot.
These are guys you've been
They've
repeat customers.
been, yeah, they're kind of on a every other year cycle. But they're really good guys. They're fun to have around.
dudes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
they'll be a
there's
good
been
time.
years where they've come in and you feel like there's no way this buck is going to make it through, and somehow they do. So you can only hope that I mean, of course you wish them success, but you never know what's going to happen. Maybe you'll have plenty of good ones to continue to chase.
We'll give them the
Yeah.
tranquilizer tomorrow morning and stash them in a ditch or something.
I'm not worried about it. They'll kill some
No,
good deer, and it'll all
Fun
be
to
good.
see them. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always a good time.
That might be the only way I get to see him on the ground.
Well, at least you get to hold them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to get a photo for us.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
we'll stop.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, have a good night. We're out.